up, everybody? It's Gary B, and this is the Sports Card Strategy Show. Because you know this, there is no off-season.
No off-season! When you get into this game, the reason why you pay someone like Paul Hickey to get your sports card strategy together is because when you're starting out, you need perspective, you need wisdom, you need insights. And so he's been around the track enough times where he can actually coach you up and guide you. Doesn't mean he's going to take you to the promised land tomorrow, but you now have a coach by your side that can advise and kind of even create these pathways where you can get the education yourself. And that's a lot better than thugging it out on your own.
What? The kids better buy my rookie card now, because after this year, the price ain't coming down.
Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Paul Hickey. It's time to sit back, listen, learn, and earn with me on the Sports Card Strategy Show. Happy Labor Day, everyone. It's Monday, September 1st. It's time to make money flipping sports cards. Before we get into today's show, I just want to underscore something. It's very important to me. I want you guys to know why I leave that clip of Q Harrison in our intro to this podcast. He says, why would you pay someone like Paul Hickey to help you get your sports card strategy together? It's because he's been around the track a few times, basically saying that you can learn from his mistakes, you can learn from his victories, and that's a lot better than thugging it out on your own. And I couldn't agree more. Why? Because I took my lumps for the first couple years in this hobby because I set out to make money flipping sports cards, not go to stores and jump people for the newest releases and sell them for 10 times the manufacturer's suggested retail price, like some scalpers out there that people call flippers. Not buy into breaks to try to get the big hit and then look like a big man on campus because I got a big hit and I'm auctioning off a huge card, but I'm not showing you all of my crap. No, I didn't do it that way. I did it by trying to create repeatable strategies for any person from anywhere on the globe to do it. Not people who go to card shows 3 and 4 times a week and play the margin game. No, not dollar box diving. No, I did it my own way. Why? Because I wanted any of you who live anywhere in the world to be able to have a repeatable strategy to make money flipping sports cards. So that's what we do here in the nooffseason.com family. That's what we do here at the Sports Card Strategy Show. If you're familiar with the show, you know this already. If you're new to the show, welcome in. You found your family. You finally found your family. You can stop buying into stupid breaks. You can stop ripping wax. You can stop acquiring crap. You can enjoy the hobby for all of the great cards that the hobby has in it. Not the crap. Not trying to win the lottery. That doesn't work. Trust me. On today's show, we're going to talk about the following topics. Panini is auctioning off singles. Okay. Don't hunt baseball prospects. Don't hunt baseball prospects. Stop hunting baseball prospects. Cooper Flagg, Tops Now update. CGC grades are in, people. Can't wait to tell you about them. And CGC grades aren't the only thing that are in from the Cooper Flagg Tops Now. We've got the Panini Instant NBA Draft Night cards. We've got them. They arrived. The grenades. What's the plan? We're going to talk about that. Panini also has another weird launch, Ohio State box set. Okay, what are we going to make of that? We'll talk about it. And then we'll look at some data because everything we do on the Sports Card Strategy Show and at nooffseason.com is data driven. It's not opinion based. It's not hot take crap. It's based on data. It's based on experience. It's based on what works and doesn't work. So we're going to take a look at the most searched athletes in our card analyzer and predictor tool. What plays are people making in the nooffseason.com family? And the most searched athletes in our sports card grading calculator. That's right. We have a sports card grading calculator at nooffseason.com. Did you guys know that? It's actually, I think, our most underutilized tool. It's like our sports card rankings, but you can put in whatever card you want to see if it's going to rank in our sports card rankings. If you want to make 10K profit by only spending $300 in a year, now let me repeat that. Do you want to make 10K profit only spending $300 in a year? I don't even know what the ROI on that is. It's bonkers. Join nooffseason.com now. Get our tried and true strategies and tools to help you mitigate mistakes and risk and maximize wins and profit. And oh, by the way, I'm letting you save 20% now. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON. All right. Panini is auctioning off singles. Now, why did this catch my attention? Okay, Panini has auctioned off wax. Panini has sold singles. They've sold all kinds of singles. They've sold autographed singles. They've sold short printed singles. But as far as I know, I mean, at least this is the first time in my recent memory where Panini has auctioned off a single. Now we've had Topps sell singles. We've had Net Pro sell singles. If you're familiar with the Carlos Alcaraz release a couple of years ago that we've talked about on the Sports Card Strategy Show. So selling singles either in a short printed fashion, a first come, first serve fashion, a random fashion, that's common. You know, we've seen that before. And we've seen auctions and Dutch auctions for wax releases. But last week, Panini auctioned off 31 different Paige Beckers singles. Okay. There was a one of one that started in a Dutch auction at $15,000. Now, what is a Dutch auction? A Dutch auction is an auction that basically goes down. It decreases. So if you wanted to pay $15,000 for the card, you probably could get it. But that's because everyone knew it was going to start to go down in price after a couple minutes. So they set intervals at paniniamerica.net. Sometimes it's 30 seconds. Sometimes it's a minute. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. I don't know, whatever. That doesn't matter. But they set an interval. And after that interval, they decrease the price of the card by a certain percentage. And there was a one of one. Now the one of one was her first All-Star game. It said first All-Star game inscribed on it. And it's instant access. It has the RC shield. It says instant access. It's a WNBA All-Star logo on it. And the one of one was inscribed first All-Star game. I don't know what the one of one sold for on paniniamerica.net because, quite frankly, I didn't follow it. I didn't follow the Dutch auction. I was too busy buying the right card for the right player at the right time. All right. And that's not the right card for the right player at the right time, the one of one. And here is one of the 30. So there were also 30 parallels that look like this. Instant access, WNBA All-Star logo, Paige Beckers on card auto, 30 of them, rookie card shield. Pretty nice looking card, I will say. I mean, clean. A shot of her pointing at the camera with the ball on her shoulder. Nice bicep shot of Paige. Pretty clean, pretty good design. Now, those apparently went for $2,500, 30 of them. Flat price, $2,500. I don't see any remaining at paniniamerica.net. So we can safely assume that all Paige Beckers WNBA All-Star first cards, all 30 of them sold for $2,500. So the market has been set. There's 30 comps at $2,500. Now, on the secondary market on eBay, this one's listed for $10,000 or best offer, and there's 2 available. So Sam's Cards and Collectibles, who has about 1,700 reviews, 99.7 positive feedback. Props to Sam. Sam's Cards and Collectibles on eBay bought 2 of these or more, but he's listed 2 of these. And he wants, or they want, $10,000 for each one. So that's obviously 4x minus the eBay fees if he gets this. It's OBO though, so Sam knows he's not going to get that. He's got OBO on here. That's or best offer for those of you who are not familiar with the Sports Card Strategy Show. So why is this significant? I mean, so first of all, I think it's the first of its kind. And I think that there's going to be more of this. I think Panini's going to do more of this. I think it's a total money grab. And drop a comment below at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. I know most of you are listening on Apple and Spotify, but drop a comment below at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. And let me know, do you think this is a money grab or do you think this is like a legit investment? In other words, do you think Panini is just trying to milk, soak, get all they can out of their contract with the WNBA and Paige Beckers being an exclusive Panini signer? I think so. It's still her rookie year. They did it with Caitlin Clark. They're doing it with Arch Manning. They're doing it with Shedeur Sanders. And they're doing it with Paige Beckers. Now, do I fault Panini for trying to grab all the cash they possibly can? No. We talked a couple weeks ago about the licensing switching hands. You know, October 1st, 2025 is going to be the first Topps Fanatics licensed potential basketball release. Now, we don't know if they're going to have a release on October 1st. I'd be shocked if they didn't, because that's the day, according to Google, that Topps takes over the NBA license and the NBA PA license from Panini. So that's gone. That's going to be gone. They're not going to be able to really put out any significant NBA releases anymore. I don't know the WNBA contract. That's obviously separate, so I don't know. So, I mean, the W might be Panini's flagship moving forward, along with like Live Golf and some of the other stuff that they have. And we'll talk about the Ohio State release later on in this episode. So they've got some NIL stuff. Panini's going to live on. They're going to do their thing. Don't get me wrong. It's just going to be weird because they're not going to have baseball, basketball, or football. Now, they have football. They have NFL licensing all the way through April 1st, 2026, which is kind of a funny date because it's April Fool's Day. So it'll be super interesting to see what happens there. Paige Beckers, 1 of 1, sold for multiples of the $2,500 parallels, right? So, I mean, I think it's safe to assume that the 1 of 1 sold for at least $10,000. Because if the out of 30s are selling for $2,500 and the Dutch auction for the 1 of 1 started at $15,000, the 1 of 1 is a bargain compared to the out of 30s because the multiplier isn't that high for it. Now, is it a bargain overall? No, because whoever bought that card is going to have to sell it for significantly more than, say, $10,000 or even significantly more than $15,000 to actually make a profit on that. And who's going to want that card a year from now? It'll be interesting to see a year from now, Labor Day 2026, if that card has sold again, and if it has, what did it go for? Now, what's weird about these 1 of 1s for singles like this, released right from the manufacturer, is that like the player could go buy it. The player's family could go buy it. Somebody could go buy it and then try to sell it to the player. That's always an interesting move. Like, if you really have a lot of money, that could be the play moving forward when you see these releases. PaniniAmerica.net Dutch auction for the next great athlete. Maybe it's, maybe Arch Manning stays Panini exclusive. That'll be interesting because listen, Arch Manning is a Panini exclusive athlete right now, currently. I don't know when his contract ends. They don't tend to release that information publicly because they don't want people knowing that so that they don't buy certain things, knowing that there might be something different in the future that they could buy that they might like better. So for example, when Arch Manning turns pro, he's going to have to make a decision. Does he go Fanatics exclusive? Does he sign the NFLPA contract and go Fanatics exclusive and have Topps licensed autos at that point? Because when he does go pro, and even Jeremiah Smith, that's an interesting one. We're going to talk about him later on in the show. Jeremiah Smith goes pro. It's going to be the same thing. Now, that's going to be a couple years from now. That monster still has a couple years left in college, which is crazy to think about how good he is. But these types of athletes that are Panini signers are going to have to make a decision. Do I continue signing for Panini and not sign anything that's licensed for Topps? Or do I sign licensed stuff for Topps and forget Panini? So the landscape is going to continue to evolve. Where we are right now is that you're in a situation where I believe the only way to really have the value increase on these one-of-ones that are Dutch auctioned off is to do something clever like I recommended and be like, hey, do I think this athlete, maybe it's Arch Manning in the future, do I think Arch wants his first ever inscribed one-of-one blah, blah, blah that I could just go buy in a Dutch auction? Doing the multiplier, being like, that makes more sense actually than the out of 30, which is weird. And then do I want to sell it to Arch or Archie or Eli or Peyton or somebody, Cooper, his dad? Do I want to sell it to those guys knowing that they might want it? I don't know. It's interesting. Other than that, I don't think there's a play. I think it's a money grab by Panini. I don't fault Panini. Is it worth it or relevant to the everyday collector, the everyday flipper, the everyday audience member of this show? Probably not. But I think it was interesting to talk about because what will be relevant to all of us in the future will be, will Panini and or Topps Fanatics do this with lower dollar singles moving forward? Will they do it with like color blasts, for example? Will they do it with Topps Chrome base autos? Maybe. I mean, e-commerce has taken over the world, and e-commerce has a slice of the hobby, but the retail and hobby exclusive releases that are bought in person or online or through breaks still are the main ways that we get our singles. So what's significant to me about this Panini release with Paige Beckers last week is that it is a set of singles that were auctioned off. Now, again, we do like these grenades and these jigglers. Now, I'll define that real quick. The grenades are the 25 packs of the Panini Instant base cards where there's raw to grade plays on those. And we do the jigglers. Those are the Topps Now 20 packs. They jiggle around in the plastic. And those are singles, but those are like set price base cards. Some of them are set price autos out of 99, things like that. They're not auctioned. So the difference here is that it's auctioned off. It's like an eBay format, but it's from the manufacturer. So pretty fascinating stuff for me. We're going to move it along. Wouldn't it be nice if there were a tool that you could just upload pictures of a card and it would tell you what it would grade and or what it would be worth in the future? We built one. It's our card analyzer and predictor tool. Go premium at nooffseason.com. There are weekly, monthly, annual, and even a daily pricing tier. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20% now. NOOFFSEASON.com is also your number one place for finding the top sports card auctions. Here's what's cool. A lot of people don't know what to search for when they go on eBay. They just see a search bar. And they might search an athlete's name and then a bunch of crap cards come up and all that stuff. So they're not getting the right card for the player that they're searching for. Well, we have curated eBay auctions for you on our top sports card auctions page at nooffseason.com. So all you have to do is go to nooffseason.com, find our top sports card auctions page, and we are pulling in the top eBay auctions for the top athletes, the top cards in real time. And if you're confused by grading your cards, you can grade with us at nooffseason.com. Just send us your cards. We do the hard part and save you money. That's the important thing. NoOffSeason.com is offering CGC, SGC, and Beckett in addition to PSA when you grade with us. We track your gem rate for you. And again, you can save 20% now using the promo code NOOFFSEASON. All right. Let's talk about baseball cards. Don't just hunt baseball prospects. That is a losing game for all of us. Couple reasons. Number one, whenever a new release comes out for the top baseball prospects, everybody clamors, buys the wax, rips the wax, sells the singles on eBay. The singles prices are the highest that they're ever going to be initially after a new release. Why? Because of supply and demand. The more of the cards that hit the market for a particular prospect, especially the autos and the Bowman Chrome First Prospect autos with the first logo on them, especially those are in high demand and low supply initially, like when Bowman Draft comes out, when Bowman comes out, when Bowman Chrome comes out. And these prospects generate some hype, low supply, high demand. And then what happens is the supply increases, not only from a raw perspective, as more and more wax gets ripped, as more and more breaks happen, but also from a graded perspective, right? Because as more and more people buy singles, they get them graded. So the supply and demand shifts greatly, first from a raw perspective, and then over time from a graded perspective. It usually takes about a year for the market to settle. And not only for baseball, this applies to all sports, but we're talking about baseball right now. So that's one reason why it's a losing game. Another reason why it's a losing game to just simply go try to hunt a particular baseball prospect or a massive amount of baseball prospects is because as they play in the minor leagues, their hype diminishes. We call that prospect fatigue, by the way. You hear about a prospect when they're 18, 19, 20 years old, when they're drafted, maybe when they first come into the minors, they first start hitting, maybe at AA. You start to really hear about prospects in their path to the majors. But the longer it takes for them to get called up, their prices go down because people just don't care about them as much anymore. And the proof is in the data. We have analyzed that in past episodes of the Sports Card Strategy Show. And you can go back into the library of episodes and you can find where we have broken this down. Now, another reason why kind of crosses into the prospect fatigue, but it's a little bit different. And that is when they just don't live up to the hype. 99% of baseball prospects, when they get called up, they just don't hit right away. They don't live up to the hype right away. So that presents another problem, and their value decreases again. So even if their value has increased due to hype or due to the call up, their value decreases post call up. So baseball card prospecting has a very, very slim margin for error. And the real way to make money flipping any kind of sports cards, for the most part, is either raw to grade or cracking and submitting. Now, when you can pair that with the ability to buy a player when they're not as hyped up, knowing that there might be a hype rise for them in the future. Like I did with Paul Skeens last year. I made the most amount of money I've ever made on a single card. And I did it times 2 because I had 2 of the cards on Paul Skeens Bowman Draft first Chrome base autos. And I was able to do that because I bought them raw in like February of 2024 and got them graded and got them back in June of 2024. They both got 10s, and I sold him when he started in the All-Star game last year in July 2024. And so I spent maybe $170 on each card, and I sold each of them for between $2,000 and $2,500. So you can pair the hype of a prospect with the call up, with the grading. If you can get all of that right, you can make massive profits. But even if you just get the grading part right, i.e., get good at recognizing which cards on eBay and elsewhere are going to grade well at PSA, BGS, to a lesser extent SGC and CGC, because you can increase the value. Now, what our sports card rankings do for you is give you a cheat sheet to that. So here's what we've done. We've taken about 10 of the top prospects in minor league baseball right now that have never been called up to the majors, and we've run them through our formula. Now, what that means is we look at what is the raw price of a card average over the last 30 days? What is the PSA 10 and PSA 9 price of that card over the last 30 days? What is the gem rate? And how many would you need to make, say, $1,000 profit? Now, that number can be arbitrary, but how many would you need to make, say, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000? Whatever you change that number to, it doesn't matter. It's going to give you the same return on investment percentage that you're likely to get from that card. And then we also subtract all of your fees. We subtract what you paid for shipping. We subtract what you paid for taxes. We subtract what you paid in eBay fees. Okay? So don't worry about any of that. When you buy the card for the target cost, which is the average price raw in the last 30 days, you are likely to get a particular ROI. So we took Jesus Made, Leo DeVries, Sebastian Walcott, Colt Emerson, JJ Weatherholt, Max Clark, Connor Griffin, and Kevin McGonigal. We took all of those guys who have never been called up to the majors before. We looked at about 5 of their top cards, their most desirable cards that sell the most often, that have the most upside. And we ran them through our formula, which, by the way, you can do as a premium member of nooffseason.com. You can not only see our sports card rankings, but you can run it through our grading calculator that I mentioned earlier on in the show. We ran it through that formula, that grading calculator, to find out, can you make money on any of those guys without worrying about any of the factors that I already talked about. Now, Jesus Made really is the one that you can make the most amount of money with. The problem is with Jesus is that you might not have enough time to get it graded, because here's why. Now, he's only 18. He's in A ball, and his ETA in the majors isn't until 2028. But here's the problem. His Bowman Chrome First Prospect Auto just came out. It's 2025 Bowman Chrome. It just came out. So not only is the 30-day average of raw comps going to be higher than it's going to be when you get it back from grading, but most importantly, the PSA 10 is higher. So what that means is you can make, if you can find Jesus Made 2025 Bowman Chrome First Prospect Auto for $158, that's a gradable copy. And again, there's more resources at nooffseason.com about how to find a gradable copy. $158 is the average in the last 30 days. If you can find it for that price, you have $195 upside in a PSA 9, which is a little over a break even. and you have a $487 upside in a PSA 10. So that gives you a projected average sale price based on the gem rate of $309. That's 39% ROI. I like that. But here's the problem. It's a brand new release. And what did I just say happens with a brand new release? The prices go down the more that are graded. So by the time you get this card back, it might not be a 39% ROI. It might be more like a 15% ROI. Is that okay? Sure. Because we could see spikes in a PSA 10 or a PSA 9 if Jesus Mate actually generates more hype. I mean, again, the risk is prospect fatigue. The upside is he's in one of the top organizations in baseball. He plays one of the more desirable positions, shortstop. He's only 18. And yeah, he's got a cool name, Jesus Made, ha ha ha. But just be careful. Short runway on that because of the new release. Now, Leo DeVries, negative ROI. Sebastian Walcott, negative ROI. Colt Emerson, negative ROI. JJ Weatherholt may be called up by the time that you can grade his cards and get them back. He's at AAA. He's 22. They say that he might be called up in the next few weeks. So where does that leave us? Max Clark used to have ROI in these rankings last year, and he's dipped because of prospect fatigue. So hopefully you all were smart nooffseason.com members, and you listened to me last year, and you said, I'm going to go buy and flip Max Clark after getting him graded. The other two guys I've talked about already in the last couple of weeks, Kevin McGonigal and Connor Griffin. So Griffin is the number 2 overall prospect, according to justbaseball.com. McGonigal of the Detroit Tigers, the number 1 overall prospect. The latter an outfielder, the former a shortstop. Okay, so where does that leave the focus? The narrow focus, which I like. I like a narrow focus. That leaves us Kevin McGonigal, 2025 Bowman Chrome First Prospect Auto, 24% ROI. Now, same problem as Jesus Mate, though. Okay? Same problem as Jesus Mate. So as much as I like my Detroit Tiger, who am I going to go with? I'm going to go with Connor Griffin. Connor Griffin, Bowman Draft Chrome First Refractor. $26 target cost, 37% ROI. You got $133 PSA 10 upside. That's huge. That's what we're looking for. You're welcome, everybody. You are welcome. If you like the content on this show and want more, go premium at nooffseason.com now to get unlimited advice answered by me on our premium podcast. It's a second weekly podcast for premium members only. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20% now. All right, I'm super excited about this play that we all made in the nooffseason.com family. Cooper Flagg Tops Now Draft Night cards. I bought 60 of them. I know many of you in the Discord were saying that you didn't feel like many of yours were gradable. I don't know. My results, I sent 25 to CGC. 22 of them got this grade right here. Pristine 10 gold black label. Pristine 10. This means higher than a PSA 10. Now, will it sell for more than a PSA 10? That is to be determined. However, I have listed all 25 of my Cooper Flagg D1 Tops Now Draft Night cards on eBay. The 22 pristine 10s I've listed for $125 OBO. I got 2 Gem Mint 10s. I've listed them for, I believe, $75 OBO. So I'm valuing the pristine 10 gold labels at about $50 more than the regular Gem Mint 10s. And then the CGC 9 is the grade that I got on the 25th Cooper Flagg card. And that I think I have listed for maybe $50 OBO. Now, I have had some watchers already after just about 5 or 6 days. My plan is to sell these in October. Okay. So about 6 or 7 weeks from now, because that's when the hype is going to start to build for Cooper Flagg again. You're going to see him in a Dallas Mavericks uniform more in October in the preseason. He's going to have his regular season debut at the end of October. So there's going to be a lot of hype around Cooper Flagg. If he plays well, these cards are going to sell for a lot. Now, I do have, out of my 60 that I bought, 25 to CGC. I just told you those grades. I've got another 25 at PSA right now. Many of you have your Cooper Flaggs at PSA or at PSA via nooffseason.com. I know that to be a fact. And then I have 11 of them at BGS. Why do I have 61 when I bought 60? Because I was lucky enough to get a gold out of 50 serial numbered insert, essentially. So I'm excited about that. Those 11 are with BGS. Why are they at BGS? I'm hunting the black label, the BGS black label. So, if 22 out of my 25 got a CGC equivalent of a BGS black label, how many out of my 11 of the same batch will get a BGS black label? That will be huge if I get more than one black label. Now, if my gold out of 50 black labels, that will be maybe one of the biggest cards I've ever had. We'll see. Cooper, there's going to be a lot of hype around him. I believe we should all be selling these cards no later than October. I mean, don't hold them past Halloween. Don't be surprised if they don't sell now. If you auction them now, you will not do well. That's why I have them in buy it now or best offer. I believe PSA 10 will outsell everything except for the BGS black label. So there should be no surprises there, but I'm very excited. Now, full transparency, even though my Shador draft night cards did well grading-wise at CGC, the sales weren't nearly as high as PSA 10 sales during the same time period. My CGC Pristine 10 gold labels sold for less than $40 each, while PSA 10s sold for double that during the same time period. You can bet I'll be reporting back on the comparison of my Cooper Flagg Tops Now cards. And speaking of Cooper Flagg instant cards, draft night from Panini arrived just a couple of days ago. What is my plan? It's easy. I've got 50 of them. I just shipped off 25 to PSA and 25 to BGS as soon as they arrived, my friends. As soon as they arrived. I anticipate profiting huge on these plays. Stay tuned for more episodes of the Sports Card Strategy Show where we bring you these plays to make in the print-on-demand worlds of Topps and Panini. And join our Discord at nooffseason.com because sometimes I'll drop something in the premium members-only Discord about Topps Now and Panini instant plays that you need to make right away. Some of it is very time-sensitive. Others we know is happening, and we can talk about it on the Sports Card Strategy Show. Are you ready to start grading your cards? We just talked about CGC cards. It's the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your grading needs. Go to cgccards.com to start grading today, like I did with this beautiful Cooper Flagg Topps Now CGC Pristine 10 gold label. And now it's all got to be in the name of making money. So hopefully we'll make money on these. If not, I'll report back on that later. And remember that nooffseason.com is the only place on the planet with sports card rankings, updated in real time, sorted by the ROI percentage you're likely to make in the future. Yeah, you've never heard of that from anyone other than me, have you? Now, when you click on each card in our rankings, it takes you to auctions ending soonest for that card. So that makes sense. One thing that may not make sense, though, is this Ohio State box set. Panini America is introducing their first ever Ohio State University trading card box set. nearly 250 trading cards from athletes across, get this, football, men's and women's basketball, women's volleyball, women's lacrosse. The collection was available at Ohio Stadium this past weekend when the Buckeyes took on the Longhorns. So they sold it in stadium. That's interesting. Fans and collectors can also find the set at retailers and hobby stores nationwide, Panini's website, and Ohio State's official online team store. So this is one of those things, like a lot of other hobby initiatives that we've seen come from Fanatics, Panini, and some of the other main companies in the hobby. This could be good for the awareness of the hobby, okay? But what does it really mean for us, the flippers? Is there anything in here for us, people wanting to make money flipping sports cards? This is a huge fade, other than maybe a couple of singles. I believe color blasts, prism color blasts of one player, Jeremiah Smith, could end up doing very well out of this release. Now, I would avoid the initial singles sales of anything out of this release, including that card, especially that card, because that's going to be one of the most expensive cards to buy out of this release, the Jeremiah Smith Color Blasts. There's also On Campus, which is kind of like the downtown. There's Prism Fireworks, and there might be other like short printed releases that we haven't really seen before, like Prism Trophy Hunting and things like that. There's going to be a lot of different players in here. Even Katie Smith, who I used to work with in the WNBA, former Minnesota Lynx guard, played for the Ohio State Buckeyes. There's going to be Michael Redd, for those of you who go way back, former Milwaukee Buck and Ohio State Buckeye. So there's Eddie George. There's a lot of different athletes in this release. So you're going to get a ton of crap if you rip wax. Now, if you're an Ohio State diehard fan, more power to you. But I would fade this release as a flipper. I might look, because Jeremiah Smith still has a long runway before he gets drafted into the NFL, and I believe he could be the number 1 overall pick the year that he does go into the NFL, which would probably be, so it's not going to be 2026, it's not going to be 2027, it should be 2028. The 2028 NFL draft and the 2028 NFL preseason would be the selling marker / selling season hype rise of the Jeremiah Smith Color Blast singles out of this set. So we do have a long runway to buy them. You don't need to go rush and buy them now. I would wait till they come down in price after this release, then maybe look at them. You've also got Julian Sayin in here, right? Julian Sayin squared off against Arch Manning this past weekend at the shoe. He is one of the other big quarterbacks to continue to watch. All right, we're going to do one of my favorite things to do on this show, which is look at data. And this is the first time we've really broken down data from two of our best tools at nooffseason.com, the card analyzer and predictor tool, and the grading calculator. I talked about the grading calculator earlier. Many of you already know about the card analyzer and predictor tool. Both of these tools have been around for a while. Tried and true, best tools in the hobby to help you make money flipping sports cards. They are in harmony, in unison, in beautiful lockstep with our other tools at nooffseason.com, like our sports card rankings. But let's get into data from the card analyzer and predictor tool. So what this data means to me is that what I'm about to read you represents athletes that are involved in the most amount of sports card plays from premium members. Because I've pulled this data, these are the most searched athletes in the card analyzer and predictor tool wanting card analysis and recommendation of a specific card for these athletes. Number 1, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan has 2 times as many inquiries as the number 2 player, Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is number 2. Aaron Judge is number 3. Tied for number 5 is Ken Griffey Jr. and Lamine Yamal. Number 6 is JJ McCarthy. Tied for number 7 are 4 people: Caleb Williams, Anthony Edwards, Kobe Bryant, and Amen Thompson. How weird is that? And then 2 people tied for 11th: Shohei Ohtani and Connor Griffin. Several people tied for 12th: Drake May, Barry Sanders, Victor Wembanyama, Nolan Ryan, Sandy Koufax, Steph Curry, Caitlin Clark, and LeBron James. And then several people tied for 21st, and that's where we're going to leave you: Bo Nix, Ricky Hernandez, Ozzie Smith, one of the weirdest ones to me, Wyatt Langford, Bronny James, Tiger Woods, Kirk Gibson, another weird one, Roger Clemens, Darryl Strawberry, Jim Abbott, super weird, Ryan Sandberg, Stephon Castle, the aforementioned Kevin McGonigal, Luka Doncic, Scoot Henderson, and Arch Manning. Now, to me, Arch Manning makes sense because we shouldn't really be making Arch Manning plays right now. We should be selling him. So these are athletes that are being searched the most under the context that I want to make a play on his or her cards. So what stood out to me here, and I would love to know what stands out to all of you: Amen Thompson, super high for who he is. Okay, tied for 7th. Victor Wembanyama, Caitlin Clark, and LeBron, super low. I think all of us should be making Victor Wembanyama, Caitlin Clark, and LeBron James plays. So according to this data, they would be the best go where they ain't. So go where they ain't: Victor Wembanyama, Caitlin Clark, LeBron James. Check out our sports card rankings for which cards to buy. Don't just go buy any cards, or our top sports card auctions page. And then Amen Thompson. I mean, that to me, that's a risky one. A lot of people, his prices are up huge. A lot of people are into him. Now his raw to grade Prism Silver does well in our sports card ranking. So if you're going to make an Amen Thompson play, that would be the one that I would make. Okay, now speaking of grading, our grading calculator searches by player. This is another super interesting set of data to me because this represents, out of all of our premium members at nooffseason.com, which cards are people curious about grading. Now, first of all, kudos to all of you who use our grading calculator, because if you're not using our sports card rankings or our grading calculator to prioritize or weed out cards to grade, then you are not only limiting your chances of making money drastically, but you're probably losing a lot of money. You're probably overpaying to grade cards that shouldn't be graded. So here are the athletes with the most inquiries: Barry Sanders, Bo Jackson, and Barry had 2 times as many inquiries as Bo Jackson. So Bo Jackson 1990 score is one of the top cards, which is very interesting. The shoulder pad bat photo that's very popular. CJ Stroud is tied with Bo Jackson for number 2. Then you've got Ken Griffey Jr., Cal Raleigh, Jaden Daniels, Anthony Edwards, Bo Nix, Ja Morant, Justin Jefferson. So Ja Morant actually above. So Ja Morant, tied with CJ Stroud and Bo Jackson. And that's his Prism Silver from 2019 that people want to know about. So that's an interesting one. Mookie Betts, Caitlin Clark, JJ McCarthy, and get this one, hockey. First time we've mentioned hockey today. Macklin, Celebrini, Young Guns. Everybody, I love data. You should too. Be very, very cautious to do anything buying sports cards if you're not using our sports card rankings, or at least taking sports card school at nooffseason.com, understanding what is the right card for the right player at the right time, buying in auctions on eBay. All of those are your best practices. Thanks for being with me. I love all of you. We are the best community in the hobby. Let's keep it going, everybody. Thank Thanks so much for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. If you enjoyed the content on today's show, there's plenty more waiting for you at nooffseason.com. Just go to nooffseason.com right now. You get our formula-based sports card rankings, sports card school, inventory tracker, the ability to grade with us, and the premium podcast where we answer an unlimited amount of your questions. Check it out right now at nooffseason.com. For everyone at nooffseason.com, I'm Paul Hickey. Thanks again for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. We'll see you again soon. Have a great day.